Welcome to Moments in History channel. His face is one of the most recognizable in the world, a symbol of rebellion, revolution, and radical change. But who was the man behind the iconic image? This is the story of Ernesto Che Guevara. Born in 1928 in Rosario, Argentina, to a well-off family, young Ernesto was anything but conventional. Plagued by severe asthma, he developed a steely determination, pushing his physical limits through sports like rugby. He was a voracious reader, devouring everything from poetry to philosophy, with a particular interest in Karl Marx. But it wasn't books that would define his path, it was the open road. In his early 20s, while studying to become a doctor, Guevara embarked on two monumental motorcycle journeys across Latin America. What started as a youthful adventure turned into a profound awakening. Riding through Argentina, Chile, Peru, Ecuador, Colombia, and Venezuela, he witnessed a reality far from his comfortable upbringing. He saw firsthand the crushing poverty, the exploitation of miners, the persecution of indigenous communities, and the stark social injustices that plagued the continent. These experiences planted a seed of revolutionary fire in his soul. He concluded that the only cure for the continent's deep-seated problems wasn't medicine, but a complete societal overhaul. His travels transformed him from a physician in training to a man convinced that armed struggle was the only way to liberate the oppressed. The final piece of the puzzle fell into place in Mexico City in 1955. It was there he met a group of Cuban exiles, among them a charismatic young lawyer named Fidel Castro. Castro was planning to overthrow the US-backed dictator of Cuba, Fulgencio Batista. Guevara was immediately drawn to Castro's cause. He saw in the Cuban struggle the perfect opportunity to put his revolutionary theories into practice. It was during this time that he earned his famous nickname, Che, a common Argentine slang term he used frequently. Joining Castro's 26th of July movement, Che was no longer just a doctor, he was a guerrilla fighter. In late 1956, he and 81 other revolutionaries sailed from Mexico to Cuba aboard the cramped yacht, Granma. The landing was a disaster. Ambushed by Batista's army, most of the rebels were killed or captured. Che himself was wounded, but a small band, including Che and the Castro brothers, Fidel and Raúl, escaped into the rugged Sierra Maestra mountains. It was here, in the mountains, that Che's legend truly began. He proved to be a natural leader and a brilliant military strategist. He was a harsh disciplinarian, demanding absolute commitment from his troops, but he also led by example. Sharing their hardships and fighting on the front lines, he established training camps, set up workshops to make supplies, and even started a revolutionary newspaper. As a commander, he led his column to several key victories, most notably the decisive Battle of Santa Clara in late 1958. His strategic capture of the city derailed a train full of government reinforcements and weapons, effectively breaking the back of Batista's army. Just days later, on January 1, 1959, the dictator fled Cuba, and the revolution had triumphed. With victory secured, Che Guevara became a central figure in the new Cuban government. He was declared a Cuban citizen by birthright. He held several powerful positions, including president of the National Bank and later Minister of Industries. In these roles, he was the architect of Cuba's radical economic transformation. He implemented sweeping agrarian reforms, breaking up large estates and redistributing land to peasants. He oversaw the nationalization of foreign-owned companies and steered Cuba's economy towards a socialist, centrally planned model, forging close ties with the Soviet Union. Che's vision went beyond economics. He dreamed of creating a new socialist man, a citizen motivated not by individual wealth or ambition, but by moral incentives and a deep sense of collective duty. He championed literacy campaigns, promoted volunteer work, and embodied a spirit of austerity and self-sacrifice. As a statesman, he became Cuba's revolutionary ambassador to the world, traveling extensively and delivering fiery speeches at international forums like the United Nations, where he denounced American imperialism and championed the cause of developing nations. However, the corridors of power were not where Che felt he belonged. He grew disillusioned with the bureaucratic grind of government and the compromises of diplomacy. His heart remained in the battlefield, his mind fixed on a grander vision, a global revolution. He believed Cuba was just the first spark. He famously called for the creation of 2-3 many Vietnams to stretch and defeat the forces of imperialism across the globe. In 1965, to the shock of the world, Che Guevara vanished from public life in Cuba. He had left behind his posts, his family, and his adopted homeland to once again become a guerrilla fighter. His first stop was the Congo in Africa. He hoped to train and lead rebels fighting against a Western-backed government. But the mission was a failure. Plagued by a lack of discipline among the local fighters, internal conflicts, and a poor understanding of the political landscape, a frustrated Che was forced to withdraw after several months. Undeterred, he set his sights back on Latin America. His chosen battleground was Bolivia. He believed that a successful guerrilla movement there could ignite a continent-wide revolution. In late 1966, under a false identity, he slipped into the country and established a small, isolated guerrilla force in the remote jungle region of Yancahuazú. But the Bolivian campaign was doomed from the start. The local Communist Party offered little support, and the rural peasants, whom Che hoped to rally, were suspicious and unwilling to join his cause. His small band of fighters was isolated, running low on supplies, and relentlessly hunted by the Bolivian army, which was receiving training and intelligence support from the U.S. Central Intelligence Agency, the CIA. For nearly a year, Che and his men fought a desperate struggle for survival. Finally, in October 1967, their luck ran out. The group was ambushed and encircled. Che, wounded in the leg and his rifle destroyed, was captured. He was taken to a small, dilapidated schoolhouse in the nearby village of La Higuera. The decision of what to do with the world's most famous revolutionary was made quickly. The Bolivian president, fearing a public trial would create a global spectacle, ordered his execution. On October 9, 1967, Ernesto Che Guevara was executed. He was 39 years old. His captors tried to erase him, burying his body in a secret location. But in death, Che became more powerful than he ever was in life. The publication of his Bolivian diary and a now famous post-mortem photograph turned him into a martyr for revolutionary ideals. His image, captured in Alberto Corda's iconic photograph, Guerrillero Heroico, became a universal symbol of rebellion, anti-establishment sentiment, and the fight for social justice. Decades later, Che Guevara remains a deeply polarizing figure. To his admirers, he is a heroic idealist, a selfless champion of the poor and oppressed who gave his life fighting for a more just world. They point to his unwavering commitment, his personal sacrifices, and his fierce critique of inequality and imperialism. To his critics, he was a ruthless fanatic, a man whose pursuit of a utopian vision led him to condone violence, summary executions, and the suppression of dissent. They condemn his role in setting up Cuba's first labor camps and his rigid, authoritarian approach to governance. Was he a saint or a sinner? A freedom fighter or a cold-blooded enforcer? The truth, as is often the case, is complex and lies somewhere in between. What is undeniable is his impact. Che Guevara's life was a testament to the power of conviction. He was a doctor who sought to cure the world's injustices, a revolutionary who tried to build a new society, and a guerrilla who ultimately became a global icon. His story continues to challenge us, forcing us to confront difficult questions about justice, power, and the lengths one should go to change the world. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this journey into the life of Che Guevara interesting, please hit that like button and subscribe to Moments in History channel for more deep dives into history's most fascinating figures. Let us know in the comments what you think about Che's legacy. We'll see you in the next one.